Mix Hub is a professional online mixing and mastering service. It's the final stage before an album or single is released to the public. For all your online mixing and mastering, as well as pricing and free track reviews, visit themixhub.net.
Kiss FM invites you to nominate a Victorian Young Achiever up to 29 for the 7 News Young Achiever Awards. Categories include Community Service, Group Achievement, Leadership, Inspirational TAFE Student, Environmental Sustainability, Career Achievement, Tech Visionary, Creating Change, Indigenous Achievement, Safety and Wellbeing in the Workplace, Healthy Living, Online Achievement and Small Business. The 7 News Young Achiever Awards. Category winners receive $2,000 in prizes and a trophy. Check out the 7 News Young Achiever Awards Australian Facebook page or nominate online.
Hey, I'm Miss Gabrielle. Join me every Thursday at midday for Ibiza in September, a celebration of the connectivity, the global dance music community. I'll be bringing you tracks, guest mixes and interviews from emerging Melbourne talent through to top producers and DJs from Ibiza and around the world. May every Thursday feel like a closing party from the Balearic home of the underground. Ibiza in September, Thursdays 12 till 2, Kiss FM, Dance Music Australia.
This is a shout out to our current members with businesses and all of the KISS clients over the years. I mean, unless you're Jerry Harvey, you can't afford to advertise right now. We get that. Drop us a line. Maybe we could run a promotion. Maybe provide a discount or an offer that I can share with your fellow members. Wholesome marketing. Hit the contact form at kissfm.com.au. Drop us a line.
Hey, this is Mark Dynamics from Kiss FM's Electronic Show. You know, you can now hear Kiss FM on the iPhone and Android app. It's totally free and guarantees amazing music right in the palm of your hand. Search for it in the app and Play Store. Kiss FM.
Dance Music Australia.
Australia.
We were just saying that sounds like a K-Man in a EFX 600 era.
100%, yeah.
Just
going
theatrical.
Bananas. Yeah, heavy faders, the whole lot.
Yeah. And just when you think he's not going to go any further, he does.
Going deeper, mind-boggling, all that stuff.
Yeah, nice one. All right, welcome, Mr. Luke Chable. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
My friend.
Thank you very much.
It's Luke Chable.
Is it Jabel?
It's Chable.
Chable.
You know, it is actually a French name, but we pronounce it Chable.
Yeah.
Everyone in the UK's got it wrong then, right? Even Digweed.
I'd like to say Jabel.
Oh, we know.
Let's keep it.
Comment to Chable.
Everyone at home, just or listening, you can also stream it. This show live on Kiss FM's website. You can watch it live and get into the video stream. We're showcasing a few photos in between the chatter, so make sure you go there and log on. All right, so Luke, we're going to talk in this section about the low step era of you and Phil. So just taking it back to the very start, I believe the first low step project was the Sade demo, 2002. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The breaks thing, basically.
Well, it was a breaks and it had many variations, didn't it?
Yeah. We started it simply as breaks because Phil was all over breaks at that stage, and then essentially what had happened is, there was a kerfuffle with something with with Ivan and I in the studio, and he'd accidentally used one of my samples of one of my tracks that I brought in for a Dark Alley thing. He goes, right, I'm going to make it right. You're in on the next Dark Alley project. And then I became a member of Dark Alley after that. But
that's right.
Phil actually walked in the studio and goes, who's this then? Who's this guy? What's he doing here?
Is that how he said, or is it, who's this CUNT? Come on, be honest.
Yeah. You know how he does that? Who's this then? What's going on here?
Yeah, and his eyes would get really, really thin. He goes, "Who's this guy?
What's going on?" Yeah. And so Ivan goes, "Just, all right, just."
It was over you before you started.
Just what? Wait, trust me. Just trust me. That was Ivan. Anyway, Ivan's piss farting around on the computer and working on the thing. Goes, right, Luke, you're up, and I start working, and then
bit of pressure.
Phil's doing this, going.
Yeah.
Are you serious or what?
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it for so long. I was just fast around the thing. He's like, right, you're coming with me.
There's one thing that Phil liked was fast production. His patience was very, very limited, wasn't it? Like, if he couldn't do something quickly, he'd be over very quick.
He'd do the face rubbing thing and the
he'd start throwing things and like a caged tiger. Yeah, you did have to. If you were going to do anything creative with him, you needed to get your ideas across quickly, efficiently, and to the point.
That's right. So basically, I don't remember. I've got memories of seeing, going up to the house up above DMC, and when we started doing it, there was this whole thing was happening, this whole movement of two-step. And he's like, two-step. What are they talking about? So we were working on it. We're going, this is lost step, and then it became
hence the name.
It became Lost EP, and the name became Low Step. Right. And that's really the simplicity of it. It was Phil. It just came out of Phil, and it was just that was it.
So after that, then you had was the Roots the first single?
Yes, the Roots was the first official one
single, and that was the first single, and then after that came the concept to do an album. Was that where you were going with it?
I was thinking about this just the other day, and I actually don't know how. I think at the time Global Underground was called Quad.
Because Roots was on Quad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Quad Communications.
Yeah.
I think that was an offshoot label of GU, because GU wasn't a label for releases. It was a label for mixed CDs.
Yeah.
And Quad was the label for the singles.
Yes. And then it all wound up.
Yeah.
And then they signed us as an act for an album. Mm-hmm. And I think that was based on... It couldn't have just been based on the Roots. It was Burma.
Right.
That's right. So basically, after the Roots, we did Burma.
Right.
And they heard Burma, and Sasha heard Burma, and it was like, you got to do something more than just a single here. So we built it around the whole album around that.
So on Burma, back to Burma. So did you guys know that was going to be such an influential record at the time?
No, never.
You didn't.
Oh, he probably did.
No, you didn't.
Not me.
You just thought it was another record.
I loved it. A record that I loved. And I always try to love a record. If I don't love it, then I don't put the best into it.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, like, I actually do records for myself. I don't do them for other people. There was a time where I was trying to impress people, and I do sometimes do that. Like, you're gonna love this thing. But at the end of the day, if I'm not happy with it, if I don't love it, what's the point? And so with Burma, I loved it because it had the swing at the time. I was really into the 16 beat, that sort of thing. Mixed the breaks in and all of that, and had all the edits. So it was a good.
It's got a thing.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be as big as it was.
Should we play it and talk?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Is it true that the vocal from it is from a world music CD?
Yes.
Was it a Burmese?
Which music store did you get it from? Was it Borders?
Well, there's a story, and that is part of the story. And that story actually, and Noah won't divulge what it is.
No, okay.
Because
is it you singing yourself?
Because it was a sample that we sampled somewhere. Very rare.
You didn't get the Global Underground lawyer team to give you the...
It was obscure, and then we got the okay from the original artist.
Say no more.
And anyway, so basically Phil and I would go, right, we're going to go out, we're going to look for weird, wacky, this, that, whatever. We're going to find something.
He loved to go into music stores, Phil, didn't he?
We got, exactly. At Borders, we went there many times, and this time we went there stoned and baked ass.
Was that the Stoned Immaculate mix, or...?
No. That came later.
Come on, boys, don't leave me hanging.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was good. I like that.
But then we came back, and I remember actually doing the meat and potatoes of the concept of this whole section right there in the lounge room.
So, yeah. And so the edits and all that sort of stuff, was that by hand, or did you have VSTs for that? Or?
No, there's no VSTs. All those edits is literally audio files,
just
chopping
with the mouse.
Yeah. So the story behind the audio files. The interesting thing about that pad is the sample is like half a millisecond or half a second or something, and somehow I've stretched it out to work.
And put in the notes, yeah.
But those edits later in the record were...
Let's talk about them when we get to them.
Yeah.
So at the moment here, you've got a world music sample, just a very short.
It's a short thing
that you've then created pad notes out of it. Yeah.
So there was a lot of work that went, a lot of chopping, a lot of reusing things for different purposes, and putting notes. Like I tend to always get a sample and like I might make the note go down, that sort of stuff. The Terry Grant I Kill You remix, I've heard it. When you listen back to it, you hear all this stuff going on, and it's not in any samples. I had to do that by hand.
So you're putting the sample into like a sampler, and then you're playing the notes?
No, literally just the audio file, pitch it up.
To be said,
I couldn't be bothered with the sampler.
There's something to be said in that, because back in the day people would use like Super Trigger and those types of things, but once you hear Glitch or Super Trigger once, you've heard it a million times.
I did,
right?
Yeah.
There's only so many times you can hear editing in that format, but something's to be said with the ability to be able to go in there with a mouse, Andy Page style,
Yeah,
he was the pioneer of doing that, just with the mouse and just getting the raw audio, rendering everything to audio and making those edits with a mouse. The ability to do that is going to create something that's more unique than relying on the software to give you that. It takes longer,
Yeah, and that's what the edit part, this part was, I do remember this. I think Phil was dealing with a bill or something, and then he comes back, and I go, dude, you got to hear this. And he heard it, and he started doing this thing, jumping around, laughing, going, yeah! And this part that...
So was this in your garage? Mangum was saying, was it in your garage in Eltham, was it?
No.
Or was that the
this
editing?
part was at Peel Street.
Right.
And then we took the first half of the record, then we finished it at my house in Christmas Hills.
Interesting thing I want to say about this track is, with the Sasha remix of this, you never really knew. See this that melody, right?
Yeah.
That really wasn't as profound and pronounced in this version. But it's interesting that he, all the parts of this track, he took that and made it an actual piece. The main body of his remix, which is interesting for him to actually pick that, because in the original it doesn't. I don't think he intended it to be that profound.
I did.
You did,
and I think they engineered it far better. At this stage, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I just did what I had to do.
Well, I don't know if they engineered it far better. They actually stripped the whole track to its bare bones and then just played it, so it actually was more pronounced because it was reduced.
Funny thing about this.
This is where we get into a little bit of the chaos
here. No one really knows what happens. Those beds. All of that actually happened by mistake. So it was a happy mistake, because I actually had the melody MIDI on the wrong thing, and it was going, wait a minute.
And it was tripping out.
That's awesome. Leave it. And then that's obviously Granny, which we loved our grannies, the Granulab.
Granulab, yeah.
No, before that, but yeah. But the thing is, it goes into like Lydian and the Dinosaur scale.
Get in,
What is it? The old Dorian.
We've got Mr. Danny Bonnici in the studio as well. You gotta share a mic. So talk to me about Phil's influence on this track and where your mindset was.
I think when we had the start of it, it just had to be epic, because it had that.
You achieved that.
It had that sound that was just. That just took you in for this journey, and you're like, nah, it has to keep going. It has to keep going.
Because 12-minute records weren't uncommon back then, you know. You got to let it marinate for a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Indeed.
Oh, fuck.
Mate, you're not playing a 6-minute record in 03.
No.
What do you mean, mate? No chance.
No chance. It was a 6-minute intro.
Funny story, actually, now that Danny's here. I think Gavin Campbell was playing it at Sunny. Right. And you'd only just gotten there, and you lost it.
Oh. You had to leave, did you?
Can I tell you the story?
Yeah, tell us the story. I heard you had to leave.
So I came in. It wasn't even that late at night. It was early, remember?
So they caved you that bad at 11?
Dude, it was like 11 p.m. or something. It was right at the start. If
the story you're about to tell me is true, I would understand if it was at 6 a.m. But the fact that it happened at 11, that's even better.
Yeah, you said I got to go.
Okay, tell us the story.
I came in. I remember so clear.
That's the vocal, by the way, this. That's the vocal.
Granularized to death. Yeah.
And,
I can hear that now, yeah.
I heard this record, and I was gearing up for a bloody good night that night.
Big night.
Big night, you know. I was
what venue were we at this
I was
time?
well prepared.
04 would have been Billboards, probably.
No.
Wouldn't have been Rosati's.
No, it was
Brown Alley.
I think it was Brown Alley
in the top room.
Yeah, it was Brown Alley.
The first Sunny, the very first ones up top.
Up top. It was at Brown Alley in the top room.
Yeah.
And I came in, and I don't think many people were there either at that point. And I come in, and I heard it, and I cried, and I went home.
Yeah, devastated. Yeah,
I was so fucking devastated. I was like, but proud and devastated.
Yes.
And because Luke knows this more than anyone, the whole point of making records back then was for our mate.
Yeah, to cave them.
To cave their heads in. And for no other reason. Fuck getting it signed, this, that. That was all it after.
Yeah.
If it got signed, that was great. But really, it was to see the look on your mate's head when you played him a tune.
And can I say something here? And I think this is an honest statement. There was no better recognition you could have as a producer or a musician than having the approval of Phil.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're writing a record, come from overseas, playing it doesn't make a difference. But if Phil said to, hey,
that's it.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what?
Yeah.
If you got that Phil approval, that meant everything.
Oh yeah.
That meant the world.
It wouldn't matter if you sold 2 million.
It wouldn't.
Could you do a Willie Tell and just go to the
do a DJSS drum and bass.
Go to the beats, the edits. You might have to be faster.
I'll do a dubstep,
Willie Tell yourself.
I've got a story about that too, actually.
Which one?
About doing a rewind with Phil.
Oh yeah.
I remember when he said, put that submarine kind of sound. It was actually a snare. You missed the edits, but what happened with the edits is I spent hours...
Days.
No, it was a night. It was deep in the night.
Yeah.
And I remember the next day, because Phil used to stay at the studio as well. And the next day, he went, Mangan told me this, I didn't know this, but he went to Mangan and he goes, dude, I'm caved. Yeah. Can you imagine Chable doing edits for hours and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't know the whole story. You have to ask Mangan that. But the funny thing is, when we were happy with them, Phil obviously is doing his jumping around and flicking the hand. I can't do that.
Wearing out the carpet.
He's got no bones in his hand. But he said, we've got to... Can you hear the drums, Fernando? So we called Jono Fernandez in the middle of the night and left a voice, played the edits, and then we go, can you hear the drums, Fernando? And hung up.
That's good. That's very, very good. All right. So I might just let's talk about...
Because we can?
Nah. No. Yes, let's talk about the album Because We Can. We're just going to put just a slight little low slung number on just while we're talking. We're going to drop the pace a little bit.
I'm going to need to get a bloody cart back.
We'll get two delivered to the room. So the album Because We Can. Were you in Amsterdam? Is that correct? Am my memory serving me correctly there?
Yes. But we started it at home in Australia, and we were really just honestly. Because I hate doing it, but we were doing this. We just didn't have any direction. We just wanted to make music. We're throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
Fuck, is this good? Yeah, all right, yeah. And then we're like, okay, this is taking too long. Cause, he got a girlfriend, I got a girlfriend, this and that, life. And then we got to Amsterdam. We go, right, we have to actually do this now. We've got to sort this out.
Got some pressure on you,
Yeah. Because I think we really dragged our feet for some reason.
Did you have a data loss, or you lost?
There's a story about that.
Is that Because We Can? Is that? Okay, I'll let you get to that. I won't spoil that bit. Yeah, keep going.
I'd moved to Amsterdam, and Phil was coming over once every second week, I think. Yeah, he was staying on the couch at Anthony's and flying over to where I was with my girlfriend at the time. And so he'd stay for a week with work, and then we'd have a week off, and then a week on. I mean, there's some not PG stuff I'd love to say. But
Well, you can say though, it's Kiss FM.
You're not going Happy Maker, are you? Is that where you're going?
Oh
with
yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah.
I'll leave that. I'll leave that for the
yeah,
board.
the Happy
And
Maker.
but for everyone listening at home, the Happy Maker sounds like a sexual thing, where it's
It's
really
not.
not. It's not a
It's
happy. It's not like a happy ending. It's
No,
more
no, no.
like it's a spiritual thing.
It's just,
It's a spiritual thing.
that's it. It is.
You know, and musicians get their inspiration from many different sources.
Yes.
We'll probably
Spirituality as well,
spirituality,
yeah.
speaking, artistically speaking. We'll leave it there.
So this.
So where are you at with it? Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Amsterdam. We were just like trying to make sense of the demos that we had and trying to go, okay, there's something there, there's something not there. Yes, there's something there. I've still got a whole bunch of demos that I intend on actually turning into.
Yeah, music. Things that never made the light of day that were just concepts, right?
Yeah, but there's stuff there that can be turned into version 2.
Yeah.
And that's probably the end of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in Amsterdam and we were working hard. You know, we I wouldn't say we were partying hard, but we were working hard.
I think you were.
But we were honestly working very
Work
hard.
hard, play hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know there was touring for him and touring for me.
That's
not
hard work.
together.
That's hard work. Yeah.
In between that, and that was pretty constant.
Yeah.
And we're just so tired.
Yeah, man.
It's so tiring. And you know, honestly, the funny thing is all those young kids who go, "I want to be a touring superstar DJ."
You don't really.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's tiring, and you're exhausted, and you miss your friends, and that's why I came home at the end of that. I said, "No, I got offered bloody 10 grand to play in Beijing or whatever." I said, "No, I'm staying with my friends. That's it."
Yeah.
But anyway, so Phil and I we worked on that pretty hard to get something that actually, you know, came together. We knew we were going to do a mix that sort of mixed into itself, and that's why as an album, it doesn't really sit when you listen to each song separately.
Yeah, and it's more conceptual as a piece of music, start to finish.
Yeah, and it's funny, at the end of the day, you've got people that absolutely fucking hate it, and then you've got people that absolutely love it.
I think it's not for you. Needs to be, because it's not for everyone.
Yeah,
not for everyone.
No,
You know,
But that's
the beauty of it, is it not?
But that's where it all. Mate, remember Gab back in DMC?
Mate, it wasn't for you. You couldn't even look at that.
And Phil, they were both the same. They'd see people coming from 100 metres away. They were about to put their hand on a record.
Don't even dare. Get past the ZT section. Not happening.
No, mate.
Yeah.
That's not for you.
Yeah. No, that's
that,
true.
That's not for you.
That's not for you.
That's
No,
That's
that
exactly
is
what,
not for you. Take your hand off that banana.
I will.
It'd be funny though because
I will never forget.
Because the right person would walk into the shop and put their same hand on that record, and it was for them.
I never forget 02. I was in DMC, and I won't say his name on there, but a big DJ. Maybe not from our world, but he's as big as they come. Melbourne. If you're talking iconic Melbourne DJs, he rolls in. He went to the Army Green, you know, ZT on the right. Gab, no. Now keep walking, mate. What are you doing? And this guy, if I told you his name, you'd lose it. He goes, mate, what are you doing? The guy's like, what?
It's not for you.
Not for you, mate.
So that whole thing, about that, I was just thinking that the name for the album was like, it really came from that thing. Like, do whatever the fuck you want, because we can.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. I think, you know, and especially that record, you know, the breakdown of that. Let's get to that next. I think. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So you can chuck it on.
Let's talk about it, and then we'll. How long does it go for? It's about 8 minutes, isn't it?
The entire record when it breaks down, it almost feels like the computer's crashed.
Well, I think was that not Reactor in the breakdown?
No. So because we can,
let's put it on.
So basically, we were getting into the electro stuff before electro was a thing, and I'm not talking the run-of-the-mill electro. I'm talking about the crazy Germans with their really
the minimal
cool,
techno,
fucking. Oh, there was one record, and we're like, we've got to do something like that, but fuck it up. even harder.
Like Michael Mayer.
Before that,
Michael Mayer. 5.
I can't even remember the record. When I find out, I'll figure it out.
It was there was a lot of German. This was at 04, 05. This album, was it?
05 was the meat and potatoes of it. Yeah, and so basically we said, right, we want to do a record like that, but we want to do it better and tougher and fatter and all that. And Phil had this bad habit. The amount of times I said, "Are you recording?" and he'd go, "No," and I'm going, "Fuck, record," because he'd fiddle on Reactor,
theatrics,
like a mad scientist, and I'd be doing something else for a bit, and I'd hear something, and I'd go, "Dude, are you recording?" No, oh my God, please, oh God. So he was screwing with some synthesizer, and I heard a portion of it, which forms the bass line for Because We Can. So it's chopped. There's actually a long file that I've chopped and turned it into.
And this is not 4/4. This is like 12/8.
No, it's 4/4.
Is it?
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't sound it.
But the thing that happened, we essentially got not halfway, I'd say over a third, nearing halfway. I'm like, fuck, this is mad. And it was so good that Phil was pacing. I was in front of the computer and Phil was pacing behind the desk. And there wasn't a studio in Amsterdam. I was in the living room. On the living room table, there was 2 computers that Steve May and I would shoot each other in Call of Duty and then make tunes. Like Land Kill and then tunes. And they were identical computers. But the stupid speakers were there. There's cables everywhere. Hard drive, cable, you know.
Cable.
The times that we had computer issues with this whole album, it's funny because there's more. But there's a whole thing called computer crash. And literally,
Low Step Live at Sunny, remember the issues?
Yes.
That was another story.
Yeah. But computer crash happened. It wasn't even this track. But
was it the power cutting off? And you were rendering burning a CD?
Phil again. I think he knocked a cable, and it was doing. At that time, you can't take samples from a hard drive when you're trying to record something.
Well, he thought he probably could. You know, you're thinking technically you might not be able to, but you know.
Yeah. So this happened, and when that happened, by the way, the whole thing was stuck in a loop. Like, fuck, how are we going to record it? It did not stop this loop, and it's called Computer Crash on the album. We've got the album here if you want to play it. But it was this loop, and we just ran around shit. How are we going to record this? Shit. And we found, it wasn't a DAT player, I think found a CD recorder. Fuck, quick, plug it in, record that, and that's what Computer Crash is. But this, as well, we were like, going like this. Heavy faces.
Heavy record.
And the apartment I was in was it was actually the old VOC, which is the first company ever in the world. The apartment, the whole building was where they kept ammunition. So every apartment was an ammunition room that had fucking huge walls, like in between each room, in case something blew up to keep it, in place. So the bass coming out of this was next level. It was on KOK RP6s on that album.
This has only got 3 minutes to go. Let's let it play.
What actually happened is Phil tripped over the hard drive cable and it toasted the hard drive where this was, we lost it.
So when you say you lost it, you lost 100% of what you had, and you had to replicate it again.
Everything on the hard drive was lost.
Too heavy.
And what ended up happening, and I actually punched the brick wall next to me.
Was that when you broke your hand?
No, that was a brick floor. That was a brick floor. But it took 3 months, and I was going deep into all sorts of recovery software, and I finally found one thing that I had to do something, and it cherry picked this bit and that bit, and all of a sudden it started coming back together, and I saved it, and I actually cried.
And when you say the end result that we hear today, how close was it to where it had tried to
It's
crash?
exactly this. The rest of the record, so we were nearly halfway.
Yeah.
And then we could put it together and finish it, but we knew it was hot when we were making it. And it's not like there were more bits there. That was up to there, and then we finished the rest.
All right, let's listen to that for 2 minutes, and we'll come back with some more.
Therapy is one of the few therapies that nourish the whole being of a person, allowing the space and time to reset the mind, body and spirit. Water Temple clients have testified that the floating aids a better quality and deeper sleep, improved energy and mental focus, reduced stress and anxiety, pain relief, faster recovery after sports. All this creates greater resilience and a calmer and happier you. Water Temple is founded by Dr. Michelle Whitewood, a registered doctor of traditional Chinese medicine with over 25 years of experience. If you wish to nurture, rejuvenate and recharge your mind, body and spirit, visit watertemple.com.au. Water Temple is an isle of calm and a place of rest.
Electronic. Are you nostalgic for all those tracks from the 80s and 90s that inspired you to get into electronic music? Join me, Mark Dynamics, as I handpick a selection of the best new wave and synth pop from the beginning of the 80s through to the mid-90s. Catch our new extended version of the show right here on KISS, Tuesdays 2:30 to 4 p.m. and Saturday mornings 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Relive your youth with electronic, new wave and synth pop. Electronic.
Join me, Tion J, every Wednesday from 6 p.m. for the Houseworks show as we celebrate the hump of the week in style. Houseworks delivers all of the latest global releases together with celebrating the modern day classics that we all know and love. With regular local and international special guests showcasing their unique talents, Houseworks will have you looking forward to the weekend before you know it. So, don't forget Houseworks every Wednesday from 6 p.m. live at the home of dance music in Australia, KISS FM.
KissFM.com.au. Dance Music Australia.
Welcome back to KISS FM.
One more tune with Sean Rowland on KISS FM.
Now, I do have some exciting news for you if you are a One More Tune listener who's been down to one of our parties before. Pay attention to what I'm about to say, and if you haven't been before, still pay attention because this could be your debut appearance at one of our parties. I'll tell you all.
We had a little system issue there. I was like, that doesn't sound like.
No, that was
doesn't sound
definitely
like
not.
Phil and Danny in 01. No. Phil pacing like a caged tiger, losing it. You know, it's a bit too fluffy.
Wearing up the carpet.
I said, Danny, I thought you've changed, mate. Is this why you've held it out for us for 20 years? We haven't heard it.
What's happened to you?
We've got Mr. Mike and Nubreed.
Yo.
Mr. Jason Calten.
Hey,
Calten.
gents.
Caltech.
Join us, buddy.
Looks like he's had a perm. He hasn't had a haircut in 2 years.
And I've gone silver.
Yeah, you are a silver fox. There, respect. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you look wise.
It's
You look wise. That's what you look
let's
like,
put it down to that. I'll just say that.
He does look wise. You know,
I got something to say. Cheer on.
if you've got problems and issues, you get a Mikey and he'll solve it.
That's right.
We've got a couch like you're a psychologist. You could just lay back. Tell me your problems. There.
I could do that.
Lay back and let's talk about the next thing that rises.
Jace, come and sit up. All right, so we're going to talk. This is the Nubreed section of the show. So luckily we've got 2/3 of the members in. Where's Jace? Is he coming?
I'm not sure.
Jace, he's actually, family commitments, looking after his boy. So,
Right.
Jace, if you're out there listening,
respect.
You're here in spirit, brother.
Yep.
Okay, and so we're going to be talking about is it Erotic City? We're going to talk about a few tracks. I've got a few things to play, but the first one I want to talk about is Erotic City Prince Edit. Now this was a piece of music you made for the Nubreed vs Phil K live set 01.
01, yes.
Yeah, all right. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, well, we were massive fans of Prince. We wanted to do something. The whole Phil K Nubreed was a massive mashup of live and existing music, and everything was pretty much remixing on the fly. If you ever heard any of those sets on YouTube, you'll notice that Phil's playing friggin' bits of vinyl over our own records, and we would be playing
you know what I do remember? I never remembered this track until I had a brain a recollection. Do you remember you played it and he was like, "Can you dig it?"
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was over. That was over. That was over that. So that would have been him doing the vocal manipulations over.
It was.
Is that correct?
100%.
Yeah. I do remember that from a live set.
Actually, that was Jace dropping samples. It was Jace dropping samples.
But it was kind of funny because it was having Jace, who did a lot of the sampling and the cutting up and stuff that we had
the hip hop element.
But Phil had the same sort of energy as well, and we at the start when we were looking at how we were going to put the show together, we were sort of we were trying to work out all this stuff. And when we got to the rehearsal that time, Phil just set up and he was just in it, and we were just like looking at each other, going, "Okay, Phil knows."
We didn't have to say anything. He just knew what to do, and same with Jason. It was just
it fell in.
It just all fell into place. It was almost like it was just meant to be.
Yeah,
it really was.
Stu had a very interesting point in the car on the way here. He said, obviously you guys initially came from a hip-hop background, less dance music, whereas Phil was from a more dance music background. So when you correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time you probably met, his influence then rubbed off on you. That's how the breakbeat was a kind of a 100%. It was a happy medium, wasn't it? Between
it was.
the dance floor stuff and the hip-hop stuff, wasn't it?
It was. That's exactly
good
right.
assumption. Good assessment of it all, definitely.
Yeah, because I remember we went to Sonny. Tony Mance had just mastered something we had written, and we went to Sonny for the first time, and Phil dropped a hybrid remix of Trumpet Man, and we all fucking looked at each other
and said,
just
"What's this next level shit?"
Because he was playing that breaks in late 90s, like that was
97.
That's not normal to be coming up with like that kind of progressive new school breaks in 97.
It was the first we'd heard that sound.
That was
as soon as we heard it, we were like,
it
married everything because that's what we love drum and bass for, and drum and bass got us into dance music. So we were hip hop, went into drum and bass. We were down with all that sound, and then I think if we had gone to like a One Love or a, you know what I mean, and not
we probably wouldn't have made any
probably
music.
wouldn't have had that.
I don't reckon, mate. I don't reckon.
Well, I'm not going to say that.
Hey, come on. Hey, so you're going to take Gab? You're going to take Gab to One Love, are you?
No, no disrespect.
No,
I mean
but
no
it's-
disrespect.
but they do their thing, and you know,
it just wasn't our thing.
No,
that's
but
all.
what I'm saying though is that there were sounds that we heard that night which were hip hop, which were funk, which were groove bass, and
he picked those elements out. And
and it wasn't just repetitive music, and that's what our sort of kryptonite was back then when we were younger.
It was new.
It was that
Hence
looping thing, which is techno. Yeah, it's just that.
It's a
but
techno
for us,
mentality.
it was sort of like, it's the same song, 10 minutes later type thing. You know what I mean? Which some of that early stuff kind of was. You know what I mean? And so discovering that there was so much sort of diversity in the sound just blew us up, and that was a perfect thing. Like Mancy doing that and introducing, it was like, this is where we were meant to go.
That was one of his biggest gifts, was the ability to show you things that you didn't know you necessarily liked, or played records that you didn't necessarily like, but did it in a way that would inspire you to have your own interpretation of it.
100%.
A little bit of Phil's rubbed off on everyone musically. Just a little sprinkle here and there.
But like sprinkle.
But not many artists have that such. What I'm trying to get at is his range was enormous.
It was enormous.
Yeah.
His palette, his musical palette was
huge,
fucking huge.
It didn't matter what genre you were coming from, you know what I mean? And he had stuff that he liked that he just didn't like, you know what I mean? But he had
the audacity and the balls to play things that most people would never think about. But if K-Man did it.
But that was the whole.
It was a different thing,
That was the whole thing of him and
delivery.
Him and Gabarucci.
It was an education.
They were there to educate. They didn't necessarily want to fill a dance floor. They were there to teach people.
They were there to lose a dance floor.
Yeah,
sometimes.
At times.
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to.
No, seriously, it was seriously like that.
Yeah, it was.
And they would say, "Let's see if we can. Let's see if
how far can we push this?
How far can we push it?
100%. Gabarucci especially.
Yeah.
And when magic happened,
then it was phenomenal.
All there for it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And there was no more better magic than 5 a.m. on the funny dance floor. That was where.
So chuck this on.
Let's chuck it on. All right, we'll play it now. No, that's not it. welcome back to Kiss FM.
Yes.
All right. So I think
that brings back memories, eh?
Yeah. Definitely. And just, getting anything close to sort of having that spirit of Prince and Phil, you know what I mean? Because he loved Prince. Loved him. And one of the great moments that he shared with me was the opportunity to see Prince on his last show in Melbourne before he passed away.
Yeah, that's right.
That was like one of the greatest moments that he could have ever given me.
And he followed him around Melbourne like a fanboy.
like a fanboy,
every secret set, he was there.
Yeah. He'd call me too, and we'd line up for hours on end. There's one thing I just want to say about that Erotic City mix that you may not know about. Phil actually played in Atlanta at the club that Purple Rain was filmed at. And
I do know this story.
He played this remix at that club at the time, and I remember him calling me, from America, and going, "Dude, you're not going to believe what I'm doing right now."
It's the club that's in Purple Rain. What's it called?
He told me this story.
What was it?
It was in Minnesota.
It was in Minnesota,
it was in Minnesota, where Prince was, and it was Prince's club. And he said to me, he goes, the promoter's like, play one more, and he didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
And he reckons he just pulled it out. And it was in key, and it was just meant to be. And he goes, it came to him. He goes, "Fuck, I'm dropping a Prince record at Prince's club."
Yeah.
That was
because I remember he rang me. He rang me.
It was his moment.
So hard.
It was his moment. Yeah.
So that's why I actually wanted to play that record, because of where he was able to play that record in his career.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that story up. I forgot about that one. That's beautiful. All right, let's talk about Dark Alley remix of Nubreed.
Food for Thought.
Zero Tolerance.
One of my favourites.
2000,
was it? Yeah.
Was it
2000, I think. Yeah.
I think it was 2000. Yeah.
And it was that whole era of like journeyous music. You know what I mean? And Food for Thought. I don't know. It was a connection that it had with people. Like, there were people that just loved it. Like, and for them, it's like one of the greatest records they've ever heard type thing. You know what I mean? And they hold it really dear, really, really dear.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, where would you even go with the remix? What are these boys? What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
And they absolutely blew me away. Actually,
blew us away.
Like when they
took us to school.
Took us
to school. Like
they really did. Actually, the drums on that record. Is probably some of the best drums.
Tribal, yeah.
Fuck, I was floored.
And it was a pioneering sound. It's easy to say that in hindsight, 01 to 03, where the sound became very prominent. But this was pre.
It was pre.
So it almost preempted that popular. Like, I mean, Zero Tolerance as a label pioneered that sound.
100%.
110%. But the idea of creating the sound before it became popular, that's another thing in itself,
mate. Innovation.
You could say the same thing about Lydia in '96, that preempted the progressive breaks thing. You could say that the Dark Alley remix preempted the dark progressive movement.
right.
But you felt it. You felt it when you were in there. Like, you felt, I don't know, that's what it was for us as Nubreed. Like, you just felt like you were listening to new shit, and it didn't matter whether it was Australian or whether it was international. It was just mad music that was coming out. That was, it was fresh. It was new. And I'm not just saying it wasn't being done anywhere else. You know what I mean? But in terms of what we were doing for a small little, backwater country, you know what I mean? We're far away from that scene, you know what I mean?
But there's something in that, I think. But actually, if you think about it, it was really made for Australian audiences, because it was made to be played at Sunny.
It was made to be played at Sunny.
That's what that record was for. I don't think they really gave a fuck about anyone in London. You can ask Gab Baruch here.
The difference is the consistency.
Come here, Gab, get on the mic.
Get closer to it, mate.
The difference is the consistency. It was like tunes all night. There was no giving in.
Yeah, there was no. It was very strict. There was no deviation.
It was very strict.
Yeah. There was no deviation. It was, you were getting this.
But you got to remember that,
and that was more Gab's influence than anyone else's. 100%.
You got to remember, right? You got to remember clubs like Sunny back then, and and these guys that were playing those tunes, they weren't there to be famous. They weren't there to be liked even.
No rockstar, no rockstar DJ.
There was no rockstar DJ.
But they were rock stars though. Like,
but you did strive to get the approval from your peers.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
That's a different thing.
After each set was the rock star vibe, but it came as genuine appreciation and a genuine exchange.
You wanted to for your mates to go. Phil actually told me this. He goes, you know why I play? I don't play for anyone except my mates. So my mates come up. You know what? You're a sick cunt. That's good enough for me. And that's how he used to think.
But that's how we all thought.
He respected his mates, and
he gave that same respect back.
But that's what the whole thing was about. That's why I think that era was so strong.
It was.
Because it had nothing to do with ego or fucking being a star or any of that. It had to do with mates.
And I think there's something to be said in that, you know. If you're thinking, come in.
Chable, come in.
There's something to be said in that. I think there's a lesson to be learnt there, boys.
Yeah.
Is if you're going to apply that to anything you're going to do in the future, you're going to get better results with that. And I think a little bit of that has been lost.
Yeah.
You know? But that's family, that's life, that will happen. That's natural evolution. But if you can tap into a little bit of that, you're going to get magic. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, look, if it comes back down to like early, b-boy, like I used to love hip hop from back in the
you would
b-boy
spin on your head.
days. Spin on my
I
head
reckon you would be a head spinner.
Hardcore spinner.
He was a head spinner. He was a back flipper.
Yeah, back flipper.
Yeah, you were a head spinner.
Walls. I was genuine Spider-Man.
You were the 12 elements of hip hop. Is it 12? How many elements are there? Tell me. I don't know.
The five.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
But talking about that though is what I'm saying. Yeah. So I always loved that b-boy philosophy of styling. It wasn't so much that you were trying to get one over on your mates. It was just like, okay, you drop that shit, I'm gonna drop this shit.
You're talking about healthy competition.
Healthy competition. That spurs the scene. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And that's what we felt when we got with the crew, because it wasn't one trying to. Well, we were trying to get one over each other, but we just wanted to see each of us frown every time we heard a song.
That's because it helped us push
each other
and become something that we didn't think we could be, man, you know?
Yeah, and we were surrounded by, you know what I mean, some amazing people.
But at the end of the day, we were surrounded by sick cunts.
You know what I mean?
There's no fucking two ways about that, man. We were surrounded by sick cunts. That's it. It's true. I'm not going to fucking apologise.
No, nor should you. Nor should you. That's a lot of Gabarucci rubbing off on you right there. I'll say that much. Nor should you.
Chairman of the board.
That's it.
You reckon I could wedge in that Yothy Indie thing?
Yeah, chuck it.
I only get going.
Chuck it on. Let's play Dark Alley. Nubreed Food for Thought. Then after this we're gonna play a low step remix of Yothy that has never been played to anyone outside of
the tracks.
The
last low step record that they wrote together before Phil left us. So stick around for that. This is a Dark Alley remix, Nubreed Food for Thought.
Check out the 7 News Young Achiever Awards Australian Facebook page or nominate online.
KissFM.com.au. Dance Music Australia.
Welcome back to Kiss FM. Many thanks to Gavin Campbell for coming in and having a chat to us. Now this is the section of the program where we were going to have Mr. Aussie LA come in, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. So he's
scratched.
He didn't get scratched. He's prepared a few notes for us, which I'm going to read out later. And he's prepared a few tunes for us to play on his behalf. But in the meantime, I thought maybe we could talk about the zero tolerance era and Phil's involvement with that, and how it all got started. So Gab, obviously it was yourself, K-Man, and Andy Page and Stuart. Was it the four of you?
What?
Zero tolerance.
Zero tolerance.
Yeah, the label. Yeah.
No. It's myself, Phil K, and Stuart.
Right. And so it was it Phil's idea to start a label because the records that you had were getting knocked back? Is that what was happening?
I think it was more Stuart's idea because he came up with the idea when the last record we made got knocked back, and
yeah,
there was a lot of interest in it, and Stuart thought this might be a good way to start the label. So
and we're talking
Phil
about
got together and just lost it,
And so we're talking about was it narcotic conditions we're talking about?
Yes, conditions.
Yeah. Right, so you were putting those records out. The labels were knocking them back because they were too dark.
Well,
right?
It was the second record we had to make for a label called MDS at the time, and they had a new crew that sort of took over, and for them the bass line just weren't rolling enough. So I decided to move on after that.
It wasn't for them.
Yeah.
And so Phil had the idea to start a label with yourself and
I think the three of us, just because we were together all the time running the shop, we were always together. I think the three of us just said, stuff it, let's just do it. And obviously Stuart was more keen than the both of us because he put all the effort into it, money, everything.
And so DMC Records was your home?
Yeah, DMC Records was a good little home for us. That helped us take off. It just got really busy, and it just helped start the label, building studios, and from there we met Andy Page. Ivan Goff was already part of the DJ courses, and so that we were all there. We just needed to start writing music.
Didn't they bring Ivy's gear into the upstairs?
When we
DMC?
built the studio, Ivan brought all his gear in, and it wasn't much. It was only a few things, but it was enough to start,
And so, did you guys understand the at the time the influence that you were having? For example, case in point, right? We've got Stewie sitting here next to us. We're at a Phil K tribute talking about zero tolerance. It was the label that was the main reason that he came all the way from Ireland.
That's correct.
To Australia for a holiday because of the influence of that label. Did you guys understand at the time you were having that kind of impact on people?
I think we did, but we just wouldn't let it get to our heads because we were just always on a mission, It's like it just never stopped. That mission never stopped. It was but we did. We just never let it get to our heads. We tried to take control of it,
Yeah. Nice. And now we've got Stuart in here, the next generation. He's been writing some tunes for the label as well.
What can I say?
It's all come full circle, hasn't it?
Yeah, full circle, mate.
That's beautiful. I think Phil will be proud.
I mean,
definitely.
If we had told our 20-year-old selves, we'd be sitting here 20 years later resurrecting zero tolerance. We wouldn't have believed you. So,
not a chance.
It's definitely something special.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the beautiful thing is I did tell Phil we were going to do this. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I promised him I was going to do
that's
this.
mad. Yeah, right.
And the first thing he said was, you know what, mate? You'll probably get more followers than what we did back then. I said, you serious? He goes, yeah, mate, I'm telling you. So I thought, all right, it's done.
I think he'd be proud of what
100%.
we've done. We've stayed true to the ethos of the sound, and I think he's looking down. He'd have his blessing.
I don't think the big thing is, like, a lot of the records hold a place in your memory. They're very special, and there's not many records now that feel special because there's so many. It's how do you create that special record when there's so many records being put out again?
I think at the same time, the same record can create a lot of different special moments.
I think it's the environment and where you are in your life as well. If we were in our early 20s, the world's our oyster. We're like a sponge. We're incorporating all everything that life has to offer us.
Yeah.
That's a good place to be. And those records are very deep and dark. They're not happy records.
Yeah, they were meant to be. We wrote them that way.
But what I'm saying is they're not supposed to be those records. I mean, not from a definition point of view. You know, black funk is not really supposed to evoke so much love and joy, and you know, but it does for us.
It does,
doesn't it? Yeah. So it's
if you get it,
you get it. Yeah, right. Now, Mr. Aussie LA, as we said, he couldn't be in today, but he has written me a beautiful intro, and I'm going to play some records from him, boys, and I'm going to read out his descriptions of the records, and you can interpret it
uncensored.
Of course,
Yeah,
I already had. I've got the.
Yeah, he's spewing. He couldn't come.
Yeah.
He had to work. He's got commitments. So
first words. Okay, you sick cunt. Here we go. Maybe play them in the following order. Intro. It's hard to believe that a year has passed, but the memories go on forever, and these are a few songs that are just on the tip of a massive iceberg, so to speak. I couldn't make it down tonight, and I wish that I could have compiled the top 100 Phil K tunes and moments, but here is my choice for tonight's show. Enjoy. Track 1. This is the most LA title you've ever heard in your life.
I can't wait to hear this.
Mario and Vidis featuring Ernesto, Changed, 2012. This was always a Phil late night groover after ripping your head off with theatrics behind the decks that would always get me grooving, which is a rare sight at 3:30 a.m. Or if I couldn't make it to the D floor, not dance floor, boys, D-double-E floor. If I couldn't make it to the D floor, I would yell out, "You sick cunt," like an idiot, because I was happy to hear it. So we're going to play that one, and then we'll come back with more.
Chuck it on.
something. I don't know what, I have no clue.
I feel like Phil would have just like looped that, put it through the effects, put it in reverse, goose-slinged it.
Goose-slinged it, yeah.
He would have got out of it more gracefully. Can't hear me, Gab?
No, I
can hear you. That's all right.
It's because you're on delay.
Yeah, don't worry about that. All right, that was Change. That was LA's number one selection. Number two, Ross from Friends. I don't know why you can't hear me, Gab. Rich, I can hear you though. It's definitely nothing's different. All right, so this one here, in the words of Mr. LA, this tune came out one day while talking to Caroline Bynon, and she mentioned to me, if I ever heard this tune, Phil, have I heard this tune that Phil's losing it over? I said no, but once I heard it and seen a video, and I instantly knew why Phil would have been drawn to it. It was one of his favourite tunes, so much that I went out and I purchased a sealed copy of this 12-inch and never to be opened it again in Phil's honour.
Respect.
How nice is that?
How good's LA? He's the best.
Did he dice it in a bit of Kuros?
I reckon he was probably wearing Kuros when he wore it. Like he would have been smelling like he was at the Metro in '84.
Is there any better way to smell, really?
Too Smooth. Actually, I'm going to tell. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell the Too Smooth story about LA. I think the world needs to hear this.
After this song?
Yes. I'll do it after the song. Yeah. All right. So this one here is Epiphany, Ross from Friends. Welcome back to Kiss FM. And welcome, Mr. Gavin Campbell.
Oh, cheers.
Thanks for coming in, my friend.
Thanks for having me in here to honour. My word for Phil is hero.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a hero to me.
He is, and an inspiration.
Yeah,
he definitely he had that aura about him, didn't he?
Yes, and you know, Darius, I was just talking with Mal out in the waiting room there, Mal Papa, and she said to me that the incredible thing about Phil was, because I said, I had such a great friendship with him, really unique, special, and I just realised that hundreds and hundreds of people felt that they were that person for Phil.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I knew you were too, and,
yes.
and other people, but
yes.
An incredible capacity for just unique friendships.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think, you know, he was a very eclectic. He had a lot of musically speaking, he was very eclectic. I think a lot of people knew him for his dance floor Phil K.
Yep.
But out of all the people I know, I think you're one of the main people that he knew, that he tapped into the more eclectic side of his tastes.
I think that was the basis of our the joy of hanging out together in a musical sense. He switched on to, when I first met him, he was behind the counter at DMC in Paran, and he just was switched on to what I wanted to hear, and he'd go, I've got this for you, Gav, I've got that for you, Gav, and he was genius at that.
He was enthusiasm he had.
Yeah.
It was infectious. Yeah.
So I just want to say, so it wasn't too long after I met him that I said, mate, you've got to come and play in my club.
Razor, are we talking about here?
Uranus.
Oh, right.
And it was called Uranus.
Of course it was.
And it was a really cool,
This is
cool club.
Pre-Razor?
No.
Post-Razor?
It was actually the last club I did. I think we started it in 95, 96 in Joey's. It was a live band venue in Commercial Road. And what would happen was people would go into DMC and the other shop, Rhythm and Soul, asking for Uranus music, you know, because we had a real kind of influential vibe going on. It was a Sunday morning club. It started at dawn on a Sunday morning and went through Sunday day, and we had gay and straight mix, and it was kind of the beginning of some of the DJs would come in and say they were playing tech house to me, and I'm like, okay. It wasn't techno.
Terry Francis,
Terry Lee Brown,
Grant Dell, the Croydon crew.
The Croydon crew, and Phil would get in there, and you know what? He wouldn't look up for hours.
He used to smash those records. I remember.
Yeah.
Early 90s, late 90s.
Yeah, you'd just deliver a drink, and he wouldn't even drink it. He'd just like be so focused and obsessed.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't even like school for me. It was just like. He was almost alien-like in the booth.
He was. It's interesting you say that in terms of the more dance floor stuff. How did your, for example, your mutual love of Prince, which is the other end of the spectrum of what we're talking about, how did that begin and how did that prosper?
For both of us, you see, Phil had a real funky bone in his body too.
Yeah.
He loved funky music.
Yeah.
And he understood it, which a lot of people like it, but he knew what the funk was really on about. And so I think if you're in that mode mentally, then Prince is an obvious love affair.
Yes.
And so it might have even been how we bonded initially, you know, love of Prince. I'm quite well known for my Prince fascination.
Yes.
And the club I had, Razor, which we opened in 1986, was switched a lot of people in Melbourne onto Prince because we just flogged his music. So I had a party in 2012. It was the 25th anniversary of Razor, and Phil came in, and I dropped a track from the Sign of the Times set called Hot Thing, and next minute Phil's standing in front of me just frothing. I can't. Can we swear on Kiss FM?
We've been given permission to use a few words. USC, for example. We don't have to abbreviate that.
He called me a USC.
Did he? Yeah, of course he did. Look, you can say it. For all those at home, he called him "you sick cunt."
You sick, yeah.
Which you're going to hear that a lot tonight, and unfortunately we can't abbreviate it because it would do a disrespect to the man. So we have been given approval. We actually got approval for that last year.
Did you?
Yes, it was raised. It was raised early in the piece. Let's try not to get the sensory bodies coming in and ringing us up and giving us fines. So if it needs to be said, he said. I feel like this is a moment in time where we needed to say that. Well, is that actually what he said?
It's what he came. He came up. And I didn't even know he was in the house. Yeah. He just rocked up in my face when I played.
Yes.
And what I'm proud to say is he told me that every single set, not long before he passed, he told me every time I've DJ'd since 2012, I've played Hot Thing in my set. Well,
right.
You know, sometimes I obviously couldn't fit in, but he said, it's just, I'm obsessed with it again. And... yeah.
There was a mutual understanding there. Yeah.
I thought about bringing it in today, but I didn't think there was enough time to play other stuff. But Hot Thing, Prince. Right. There you go.
And I'd like to discuss Yothu Yindi as well.
Mm-hmm.
You say it in your own words. I could give my interpretation on it, but I think it's best that you tell the story.
For anyone that doesn't know, my label Razor was responsible for the Filthy Luca remixes. I was Filthy Luca with a couple of mates, Paul Main and Robert Goodge, and so we did Treaty back in the day. And when it came time for the 25th anniversary, it's popular again, as you know. Mm-hmm. You did one of the mixes, number one delicious mix. We remixed it for today's market, and not long after that, thanks to you talking to Elliot Rothfield, we ended up getting invited to do a show at Strawberry Fields, and I'm saying to Phil, I said, I've committed to this, and I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do on stage. Help me here.
Yes.
And so we were out to dinner one night, Phil and I.
Yeah.
And he just said, I'll tell you what you're going to do. I'll tell you how you're going to do this.
Was he like a caged tiger? I'm going to tell you what you're going to do.
He did stand up.
He was very animated with his storytelling, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was so excited because he could see that he was going to like work on this thing.
Yeah.
And what the idea was, as you know, because Elliot said, well, you told me that Elliot had said, our crowd loves a Yothu Yindi remix. And so can we do a live Treaty moment? And so I said to Phil, I want to grab the finest Yothu Yindi tracks and just remix them, mess them up, and do something special for the show.
Live. Yeah.
And he said, I know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to get a Therese sampler.
Yep.
And it's so easy.
He loved that thing,
He loved that thing.
He did.
And so I've still got it with all his sounds in it.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, amazing, yeah. I remember he did the launch at... I think it was Porn & Co. maybe when it first came out. Were you there that night?
No, I wasn't. Yeah. I saw him launch other products, but I didn't see him launch that one.
Yeah.
But so Phil, true to his word, he got in Danny Bonnici and Luke Chable.
Hands on.
And so and a couple of young guys. You know, this is another incredible thing about our Phil. He would champion young talent. He would spot talent in them, potential in them, and bring them in and introduce them to people like Anthony Papa and, you know, they're kids' heroes.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. We got a bunch of gun producer remixers, local guys. They all did amazing jobs. To be honest, I haven't been able to pull this off yet, but I would like to grab the Nubreed remix of Jarpana and the Low Step remix of Tribal Voice and put them out on vinyl.
Yeah.
To honour Phil, but I've got to do. There's a big negotiation for that.
You do know that his remix with Danny was the very last track he ever played live.
Was it?
Yes, at Sunny.
Is it?
It's where it ended where it began, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I've got footage. I saw footage of him playing it.
So that was actually the very last track he played. I'm 99% certain that that's the case.
This might be my teary moment
that's
here,
all right.
Darius.
So that's it's an amazing thing. If you think about all the sets that he's done in his life, all the tracks that he could have played. And we all didn't know when the end was going to be. I'm sure he didn't know.
No, of course not.
We just went with the flow.
Yeah.
I do hear that was the track.
Well,
that was the very last track he played live in a live setting. Yeah,
it needs an official release.
I think it does.
I've just got to negotiate because it's not
not an easy.
It's not treaty.
Yeah,
I'm the gatekeeper for treaty, but not other Yothy indie material. But these remixes that I refer to were used in our live show, and the live show was amazing. Phil came to Sydney twice with us.
Yes.
We had some pretty special gigs.
Yes.
He was a little bit disappointed with the reproduction coming out of the speakers for the audience. You know, perfectionist.
He's critical, of course, yeah.
You know, because it was the mixing guy.
Yeah.
Deciding what was important and
what. Well, mixing is an art form in itself, and it's a taste. It's all due to someone's individual taste, isn't it? So,
exactly. And Phil knew what he wanted to hear pumping out at the Opera House.
Yes.
But that was special, you know. He was blubbering in tears. I was blubbering in tears. Just to look what we did. Look how far we got with this particular project. I'm indebted to him. We would not have got back on stage. Yothy India back touring. Some of the young members from our Treaty Project version are now a new band called the King Stingray.
Yeah,
and they're killing it on Triple J and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is all thanks to Phil.
I think a good thing to come out of this, especially given the fact that you've got the that Pioneer bit of gear with his sounds in it now, you know, his influence can live on. You can do your own interpretations with whatever you...
Well, you want to know something. The vocalist from the band, there was a house track called Firewalker, and Phil got all of the songs that everybody did. And he put extra elements to them in my terrays for me to play, because he would program it for me.
That's right, yeah. Because you were on that machine. Now I think about it, I was trying to picture in my head on the live setup, and you were on that.
I was on the terrays,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I also he was so clever, as we all know, but it wouldn't sync to the Pioneer CDJs, the terrays,
right?
And so. He made me a click track, which I would literally mix as a DJ for the first few shows, so that
because you had the control of the pitch.
Yeah, exactly, and so that the terrays was in sync with the backing track. So you would correct
it with the CD players.
Exactly.
To sync with the Pioneer. That's beautiful. Yeah,
it was scary as. It was scary as, because the band is organic, as you know.
Well, there's human error, and there's a beauty in a human error as well, especially in a live circumstance, isn't there?
True. But when you've got a bunch of angry Yulnu warriors turning around and looking at you, like, I missed my cue, Gav.
Yeah. Nice.
Anyway,
beautiful. All right, is there anything else you'd like to discuss? In terms of, let's leave it on a prosperous note. In terms of the future, you know, what have you got musically coming out, and is that inspiration from the past going to live on through?
Oh yeah, for sure. In fact, so the sounds that he put into the terrays for Firewalker. Because Kamahi Jordan King, the singer, he's going to come down to Melbourne in March, and we're going to record the vocals properly and put it out as a gospel house thing.
Oh, beautiful.
And all of Phil's sounds will be in that mix. So I guess we could I don't know, I'll talk to people about it, but it could probably be featuring Phil K. You know, he put timbales in it and some lovely synths and made it really atmospheric. And I remember on stage when we performed it, I used to thank him in my head, because, you know, I was rocking thanks to him.
Yeah, I think a beautiful thing about music creation or anything creative-wise is your footprint of what you leave behind once you pass stays.
Yes.
It doesn't end. You know, if somebody doesn't make anything creative and they may pass, they don't leave that. But someone that makes music or takes photography or anything in that realm, you're leaving a footprint, and that's going to stay for. Yeah. To the end of time, as long as people can research, you know, people that are kids that are born in 500 years' time might be looking and find some Phil K records in someone's collection,
exactly,
and his legacy will live on.
Yeah,
and that's a beautiful thing, I think.
I'm going to do a little bit. I'm going to contribute to that because I am writing my memoirs, and Phil looms large in you know, since the mid 90s in my world. He picked me up. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to leave you on one thing. Although I might cry while I tell you this.
That's all right.
It's no secret, I went to rehab and there was a couple of times when I relapsed, and he literally picked me up out of the gutter one day. I can't say anymore. Yeah. He literally did, driving past.
Look, he was the same with me. You know, the good friends are there through the good times and the bad times, not only the good. So I definitely feel you on that front. So He was a beautiful man. We'll leave it there.
Thank you, Darius.
Thank you very
It's
much
been
for
great talking.
coming in. Great to see you again. And hopefully we can hear some of those new creations soon.
You will. You will.
Beautiful. All right, we're going to play another track, and then we'll be back with Mr. Gabarucci on the Zero Tolerance crew.